Okay, I think we're good. So, hello, my name is Ethan Marcella, and today I'm going to go over my final project, which I worked with Emmanuel for this. And so we pretty much created a similar game to Galaga, which is a space fighting arcade 8-bit game. And I think, if anything, running the program shows the best for this. So to give you a quick demonstration, we first have this nice starting screen, both of our versions of Galaga. And so you can use, we've had mouse input and arrow key input to move. You can press spacebar to shoot. I'll go over all this later in code, and now you can touch and do anything and it won't do anything in the code. But if you press 1, 2, or 3, you can choose how many enemies you want, essentially. And so this is a modular thing that you can easily change and change the difficulty, per se. And so I chose 1, and so now it summons in this one little alien. And so these pink boxes are ammo. So if I hold down spacebar, it will shoot out bullets until I am out. And now I'm hitting spacebar and nothing's coming out. I think we have a default to like 10 bullets or something at first. But if I collect one of these, I get more bullets. And 5 more. And then so this alien will come back around, similar with the stars as well. They're all set to different speeds. And so just demonstrating also arrow keys. And if I then want to switch back to mouse, it'll return back to the location. And for now, if I were to crash into this spaceship, I would lose. And I'll go over some of the other features we have right now. But if I just shoot this down, there we go. And so I've won, per se. I don't have an ending screen yet, but that is something Light would implement if we had more time. And so let's see. If we go into our graphics file, in here we have a bunch of booleans for bullets being fired, for the starter screen being pressed, as in you press 1, 2, or 3, then it turns true. Some beginner text from dimensions. We have it where whatever, if you press 1, 2, or 3, it'll give a level choice and reinitialize the enemies. And so either push back 1, 3, or a bunch. Yeah, let's move this line actually real quick. Actually, no, keep that. And so this has a lot of initiation of the stars, certain widths, and the stars are specifically circles. And so this relates, let's see, it relates the graphics module and the our second module, I believe it was, which was has a or is a. So the circle is a shape, rectangle is a shape. Technically, we have also the user has an enemy has a rectangle, because both the user and the enemies are created out of rectangles. So that uses those relationships, and then of course using graphics. So, but yeah, we have a bunch of initializations. This makes the ammo, and we have our size, drawing all the objects. And so we have, this is for the display, but we also have an initial display. This checks for bullet overlapping, reduces the alien health by 1. Let's see, we have, if the user's overlapping, we're gonna destroy the window. So then, because you've hit the enemy. If all the aliens exist, then you win. So we close this program. Let's see. This here takes in your user input of pressing key numbers, and it will only act if it's still on the starting screen. So if I press 3, 2, or 1 after I've already pressed it once, since S pressed will change to true, and this is looking for it to be false, it will never reinitiate any of these, which is good. When we press spacebar, this spawns in, pushes back a bullet. Then we have our actual intro display. So this does all the intro, flashes it. Movement, simple movement commands, cursor getting the user's X and Y for setting the center. Don't have any mouse input. We did at first, but we removed that and just made it the 3, 2, 1. And then so for all the timers, we put them all together to hopefully reduce the amount of, I guess, input lag per your computer, or frame rate essentially, or yeah. Had some issues on other laptops, but here we implemented moves as for all the stars moving at different speeds, 1, 3, 5, to get that depth perception. And then if they get too far down, they pop back up to the top. Similar with enemies, once they get off the screen, they come back to the top. Here we got bullet timers, moving the bullets at some speed. That's the same for, so we have also some enemies, which I'll show right after this. Enemies will shoot back at you. But a lot of this code really allows for really easy modulation and changes, which is quite nice. So all of these, if you change the shape of something, it takes that into account every time when moving and such. So it helps out to have these as classes. And so this is the big one, bullets to erase if they get farther. So the bullets get erased and don't wrap around. So once the bullets reach the edge, they get erased from the vector list. We've got timer function. So for our purposes, I can set this a little slower, faster. This is a sleep timer. This allows for, if this was not enabled, your fired bullets would essentially just spam out really quick if you held down spacebar. This allows for there to be a time delay between each time you fire a bullet. And so this helps out with that. Here's the function calling, yada, yada. Lovely. I'll show a little bit of user. This pretty much initializes the user. And as you can see, there's a lot of different colors and locations. I'll push back, and we have some classic functions, just drawing, getting user, setting the set center. Now this has been annoying where we have not been able to figure out a way to just shift the center like in a loop. So you have to manually shift it by -30 and 10, -25 and 5, and that's all dependent on its initial locations. So that's slightly difficult, but we have the overlapping get shot method and health down. So this is for how much health the user itself has. And so I'm going to demonstrate that actually now by showing you we have implemented also when you call enemy, you can add a string value saying easy, medium, or hard. And so I can have different types of enemies. And so now the constructor created a different enemy, which is, oh boy, which is this bigger one. And this one fires back. And so the one, oh, and there you go, I see. And so, yeah, so that adds some more effects to it. It speeds it up, which is nice. But yeah, I think that is about it. I'm gonna look my README. So there's no installations. Spacebar to shoot. Yep. Pull up this assignment. So I think for, at least for design, I think we satisfied all those requirements, having graphics and also, let's see, graphics and the has a is a functionalities from module 2. I think I'm not surprised, but documentation could be a little more. I mean, at times it's pretty good. I mean, you can always have more documentation, that's for sure, but I could understand if some things are a little off. So, but I'd still put it at great. Program is pretty clear and useful and interesting and fun. I think this one overall, it is pretty aesthetically pleasing, and is pretty self-explanatory of how to play, how to this works. So yeah. And I think this program is quite complex. I mean, it took a while figuring out a lot of these small functions, small little features to just get it right. Let's see, let me go into enemy. And so yeah, this was a lot of creating these pushing back these rectangles, figuring these out, shifting it, setting your initial XY coordinate, a lot of small little things here and there, but adds up. And yeah, and all these pretty much have, so enemy and user are pretty much, they're related to the rectangle class by just copy and paste and then remaking essentially. So a lot of these are similar code to reusing code from rectangle, which is very helpful. But then altering that to apply to a user or an enemy. But yeah, I think that's about good. And thank you so much. Have a great summer. And thank you for grading our project.